Hi guys. Okay, so we're going to go over, I'm going to go over the actual test with you, chapter 6, and then I want you to take it sometime, if not today. I would like for everybody to take it today and just see how you do. And then you can take it as many times as you want to take it until you get the grade that you like. I want it to be reasonable. Take it today. See what you get. And I can see on the computer, I can see if you take it or not and how you did. So I need you to do that. And I just wanted to go over some of the questions with you, and then you can go to the Quizlet and take it and see how you do. Okay? Basically, I just want you to be familiar with this material because we're not together and I can't teach it in the way that I normally do. And I'm just going to help you out a little bit for that, okay? How did the Dawes Act change the lives of the Indians? The way it changed the lives of the Indians is because it took away their land and their government, because each of the 5 tribes had their own governments. And the Dawes Act said, no, we're not only going to take away your land, we're going to take away your government too. So that's what the Dawes Act did. What was a land allotment? Most of you got this correct on your questions. It was a piece of land given to a homesteader for free, the home allotments. The creation of Oklahoma Territory allowed the settlers they could create a territorial government. That is why the homesteaders were really wanting Oklahoma to be turned into its territory. Remember, it was Louisiana territory, and then it was Missouri territory. It was Arkansas territory. It became all these territories before it became Indian territory. And then from Indian territory, they wanted it to become Oklahoma territory so they would have some kind of government. There were a lot of outlaws and things that there was just no law. And so the people wanted that protection of the government. What did the Indians have to do in order to become U.S. citizens? Well, the only thing they had to do was give up their culture. Yeah, they had to give up their culture to become citizens, which that was a big thing that they had to do. Why were the Wild West shows so popular? Well, because everybody heard about the Wild West. They heard about the West. They didn't know what it was like. But when they go to see these Wild West shows, they could see what it was like to live in the West. Yes. Speaking of Wild West shows, there's some of you, I do not have your Wild West shows. That's a big grade too, just saying. Which of the following was not a trick performed in Wild West shows? And I think on your test it's, what kinds of things would you see in a Wild West show? And there's buffalo hunting, bulldogging, and roping. Okay. Why did the settlers call oil black gold? It was because they were both extremely valuable. Both oil and gold are extremely valuable. Okay. Which of the following is an example of what oil was used for? Well, it was used for various things. It was used to grease machine parts, to make them run smoothly. A lot of times, if your door squeaks or something like that, one of your parents might spray it with oil and it quits squeaking. It's because it rubs together. When metal runs on metal, metal will do that. But if you put a little grease, a little oil in there, it makes it not do that. So the oil made it run more smoothly. It was refined into kerosene, and they had kerosene lamps. That's how they had light a lot of the times, and burned to create light. So, and the kerosene also was used in a lot, like kerosene heaters and engines and things like that. Who started the first oil drilling company in Oklahoma? That was a question on one of your questions. The Choctaw and Cherokee Indians, and Lewis Ross, I believe was his name in particular. So, why was Wild Mary Sudick a world-famous gusher? Wild Mary Sudick. Well, it was because it exploded like a volcano and it sprayed oil for 11 miles. Can you imagine oil being sprayed 11 miles? That's a long way. Which oil tycoon used a seismograph to find oil? That would be Ernest W. Marland, not Maryland. Some of you put Maryland. It's Marland. Immigrants from Italy, Poland, Russia, Hungary, Germany, Mexico, and Lithuania traveled to the United States to work as coal miners in the coal mine. The Native Americans did not want to work in the coal mines. They did not, they thought it was very bad vibes, very bad spirit to be working, to go underground. So they wouldn't do it. So they had immigrants come in and do it. Name some natural resources found in Oklahoma. So you've got oil. We know about oil, right? Lead, zinc, gold. Did you know there's gold in Oklahoma? Yeah. What did the 5 tribes want to see happen when Oklahoma became a state? Well, the 5 tribes wanted their own state, and they wanted to name it Sequoia, the state of Sequoia. So they wanted a separate state from Oklahoma. They didn't get it, but that's what they wanted. The Snake Uprising encouraged Indians to refuse the land allotments. Because what they were doing, the Native Americans had a different viewpoint of land. They didn't believe that individuals could own land. So most of you live in homes. You own the house, you own the land. Maybe you have grandparents where they own their house, they own the land. Maybe they have a farm, they own the land, okay? That was very foreign to Native Americans. They believed that the land was something that came from the Great Spirit, and that the Great Spirit, or their spiritual beliefs. No one could own the land, but they were given it to live on. So they just wanted to be able to live on the land. They didn't really want to own the land, and they lived on as a community. They didn't. One person didn't own something or have the rights to something. It was a community thing that they had as a tribe, and so that was a big reason why the government wanted to do the land allotments with the Native Americans, is that broke up that culture. And they wanted them to think about owning this land and not as part of a bigger thing, but just for themselves. Yeah. So that was the Snake Uprising, was really to encourage them, hey, don't do that. It's going to totally take our way of life, away, which it did. So, which of the following was not included in Oklahoma's state constitution? It was the tribal government. There was nothing about tribal governments in the Oklahoma Constitution, because there was a Bill of Rights, there was the 3 branches of governments, and there was the county governments. So, but they didn't have anything in it about the tribal. On the day Oklahoma received statehood, what did the wedding ceremony between a rancher and an Indian woman represent? Marriage between the twin territories. It was not a real wedding. It was just, they were trying to draw a picture of what it would mean. And so they did that with people. And they had a man dress up like a rancher, a homesteader, and they had a lady that was a Native American lady, and he represented Oklahoma Territory, and she represented Indian Territory, and they came together to form Oklahoma, the state. Okay? It wasn't a real wedding. And you know that because there was a couple of things. I had a couple of great answers. Wedding was in quotations. Wedding. Yeah. And so that was an indicator. It said it represented the two. So it represented the territories. Territories can't get married, right? So if you have that out on correction, a lot of these answers were given to you today. So no excuse for not getting those in. The suffrage movement was a time when women fought for their rights. Now, I didn't go into that a lot I didn't ask any questions on that or anything, because you will study about the right for women to vote in Mrs. Cox's class in 6th grade. You'll get into that a lot. But you will have heard a little bit about this, that was happening around that same time. What is an auction? You guys should be very familiar with what an auction is. It's a public event where products are sold to whoever offers the highest price. A lottery, that's like drawing sticks, a lottery. A random way of deciding who will get or be given something. The relationship that's how a lot of Oklahoma land was given away, through auctions and lotteries. It was 2 ways the government did it. What's a tycoon? A tycoon is a very wealthy and powerful business person. And what does it mean to prosper? It means if you're prosperous, you're very successful. What's the relationship between the two? Because of Oklahoma's oil, a lot of businessmen that invested in that oil really prospered a lot and became tycoons, very successful, prosperous businessmen. What's a convention? It's a large meeting where people discuss ideas and make decisions. What does it mean to debate? You debate. It's a lot like when we have in our class whenever we have 2 different opinions. What do we do when we have 2 different opinions or differing of opinions? We plead your case. I miss pleading cases. But that's like a debate. It's you say why you're right and this person says why they're right, or why they're wrong. It's like pleading your case. Debate it. Okay? And then what's that have to do with each other? Several things. The convention, whenever Oklahoma made up its convention, there was a lot of debate on what kind of government the state of Oklahoma would have. In the women's rights suffrage, there were a lot of conventions. There were a lot of people who didn't think women should vote. So anyway, yeah, in both cases you could, in our text, it relates it in several different ways. So, okay, well, I wanted to go over those questions with you. I don't think you'll have any problem on the test, because a lot of them, it'll ask you the question and it's only, there's some matching and there's multiple choice. And I think it's going to be obvious. If it asks you about why oil was called black gold, you're going to know from the choices, because there's only just one obvious choice. So if you're anywhere familiar with this material, you should be fine. So I do just want you to take the test, though. So I know that you know that I know that you know. Okay, guys, that's all I have for you.